Hello and welcome to Run Testers. My name's Nick and this is our first run review of the Brooks Ghost 15. So the Ghost is almost the quintessential daily training shoe. It's the classic line from Brooks that balances cushioning, durability and versatility in general. The latest version of the shoe costs the same as the previous version. It's £130 in the UK and $140 in the US. Brooks say the midsole is a bit lighter, but the weight actually comes in very similar to the previous version for me. The Brooks Ghost 15 weighs in at 297 grams or 10.5 ounces, which is almost exactly the same as its predecessor. And it's got the same 12mm drop, very high drop these days, although most shoes are still kind of 8 to 10mm, but 12 is a little bit rare to come across. The main update with the new shoe is that Brooks has updated the DNA Loft foam in the midsole. It's still DNA Loft V2, but it's a softer, lighter compound, a bit more air in there. It's designed to create a less dense, softer feeling underfoot. There's also been some adjustments to the upper to make it fit more securely, but it's still pretty much the classic upper with mesh at the front, loads of padding around the heel and tongue, and then a plastic heel collar that actually is quite firm and runs around the back of the shoe there to create a bit more stability. You've then got a thick rubber outsole, really good coverage on that there, with the segmented crash pad, which Brooks says promotes a nice smooth transition from heel to toe. So aside from the updated midsole, you really have got a shoe that's built along the classic Ghost line, so it'll be interesting to see if the ride has changed much with that new midsole foam. The Ghost 15 fit me beautifully, true to size. It's got a really nice hold around the midfoot and certainly at the heel with all that padding there, and a nice roomy feel in the toe box as well. So yeah, no problems at all, true to size. So I quite enjoyed testing the Brooks Ghost 14 when it came out, but I did find that it didn't really live up to the standards of the best kind of cushioned daily trainers that are out there at the moment. Like, it was very cushioned and comfortable, but it wasn't quite as comfortable as a max cushion shoe like the Brooks Glycerin, and it wasn't quite as versatile as other options on the market, things like the Hoka Mach 5, that kind of thing. So I've now done 2 runs in the Ghost 15. I've done just a couple of easy kind of daily training runs. I did 5 miles yesterday in the pouring rain and then a nice 10k today, just cruising along with a friend, chatting, and the shoe feels very good on that kind of run. It does work very well as a daily trainer for those easy runs. I say it is softer than the Brooks Ghost 14. It feels slightly smoother on the run, but really it disappears on the foot a lot better. I did find that the 14 was quite noticeable. It wasn't firm or anything. It was a very comfortable shoe, but it felt a little bit slappy at times, and this doesn't actually. It runs very quietly, which is surprising me. I kind of expected with a shoe with a 12mm drop, as a heel striker, I'd get a big slappy feeling from it, but no, it has got quite a smooth, quiet ride. That very big, thick outsole certainly helps on that front. But in general, I think the midsole is pretty nice. It's pretty enjoyable. It's not the liveliest in the world, but it's a bit softer, and the shoe, you do just kind of stop noticing it very quickly in a run, which is always a pretty good sign, actually, if you're just out for an easy cruise. Upper is very comfortable all around. I say it absorbs a lot of water at the back. Like I said, I've been running in the rain here, and it takes a while for this plush padding at the heel to dry after a run in the rain, but it does feel nice when you slip on the shoe. Outsole is really good. I think it's something I'm starting to say a bit more with kind of these cushioned daily trainers lately, is that it's great to have a big, thick outsole like this, because the kind of runs you're going to use it for, so I trade the weight to have the extra grip and durability, and this is gripped really well on kind of slick pavements with lots of wet leaves over them here in the UK in the autumn. So yeah, it's a shoe that I think is going to work quite well as a nice easy plodder. I'd say the ride is slightly different, but overall it was pretty reminiscent of the grip Brooks of the past, but it felt maybe a tad smoother and a tad softer. So like I say, I think the ride of the Ghost 15 has been improved a little bit, but it is very much still the Ghost. I think if you're a long-term fan of the line, I don't think this new update is going to surprise you or shock you. You're going to basically get a little bit more of the same with a slightly softer ride. It's interesting to me that they didn't go for the DNA Loft version 3 foam that's in the Glycerin, which does have a slightly more responsive, dynamic ride, I think. And it's interesting it's in the Glycerin, which is the more cushioned shoe. Maybe it's the similar vibe to this, but the more premium level shoe within Brooks's range. But yeah, I do like the ride of the Glycerin a lot. I think this is less impressive a ride, but at the same time it does just kind of get the job done, and you stop noticing the shoe, and that works very well for those easy plods that I've used the shoe for. I think it's probably not going to work quite as well when you're looking at versatility. I haven't done anything too fast in the shoe yet, but I will look at that for our full review and trying to test it out. The kind of things like tempo runs or mild sessions. Is this the kind of daily trainer that can handle all of those, or is it one that you're really going to stick to easy runs? My suspicion it's going to be like the Brooks 14, which is going to work a lot better for those very easy controlled plods rather than the a shoe that you can then use for something speedier. And there are a lot of very good versatile shoes out there these days, and that's why the Ghost, I think, has a bit of a hard time sometimes, because things like the Hoka Mach 5, even the Asics Nova Blast 3, Puma Velocity Nitro 2, these are all nicely cushioned daily trainers at a decent price that are a little bit more versatile and do work well for speedy runs. So I will see how the Ghost 15 does. The Ghost 14 wasn't great in that regard, but you've got the updated midsole here, so it will be interesting. But overall, I'd say, those first 2 runs suggest this is very much the same dependable shoe you always expected from the Ghost line. Great outsole, durable, grips well, very comfortable, incredible slip-on feel. I imagine when you slip it on in a running shop, it's very hard to choose something else, because it does feel great with all that padding around the heel and tongue. Upper hole's well, midsole feels pretty good, ride is fine, and the outsole's great. It's nothing too much wrong with it. I just think there's a lot of really good competition out there, and I'll be interested to see how it stacks up against them in our full review. That's our first run review of the Brooks Ghost 15. Let us know what you think of this in the comments. Is this a shoe that you've been a long-term fan of, or have you moved on to other shoes? Did you start with Brooks? A lot of runners start with Brooks. I started with Asics, but I did have some Brooks shoes very early on. What do you think of this update? Were you hoping to see something different, or is this exactly what you're looking for? Please let us know in the comments below. Do like and subscribe, ring the little bell, and we'll see you next time.